Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and first I want to apologize for not uploading a ton recently. I've had a number of projects come in that just all have very short turnaround times and they're all kind of due on the same date, and then I found out that I am going to St. Louis very soon, so just in crunch time right now trying to get stuff done. But I got a comment on my channel recently that just really hit me and made me think, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So it posed a question that I think is very legitimate, very real for some of us who have an illness or a medical condition, and that is, why in the heck would anybody want to date you, be with you, when you have an illness like I do? If you enjoy my videos, I would love if you subscribed, liked this video, followed me over on Instagram. That would be amazing. But yes, today's video is a difficult topic, and it's one that when I was actually a child, I struggled a lot with, because before I had ostomy surgery and I really found my way of managing my disease, I was very ill, underweight, socially delayed, and felt like that was how I would be forever, and I would not find love. There are times that I really wish I had video footage that I could share with you about my disease process when I was younger and what it was really like. But at the same time, it was so negative that I don't know how helpful that would be to see. I think it's good to be very honest about what you experience with chronic illness, but at the same time, it was years of just having an awful mentality about myself and just being so self-conscious and really not seeing a future with the disease, which is really sad because I was so young. I was diagnosed at the age of 11, and my disease severity really ramped up when I was about like 13 to 14. I think I started tube feedings at 13. That made me feel like a complete outsider because, I was the only one, as far as I know, getting tube feedings at school. And, I was having trouble in the bathroom. I was bleeding a lot, and it was just very isolating, which made me feel very socially delayed. Like I said, very fortunate to have the friends that I did who kind of just stuck by me even though I was so behind them. But I felt like there's no way I'm gonna wind up getting married. Like that, why would anybody want to deal with this? And it was really due to me, feeling better and having time to not think about being sick. Because that's really, I look back when I was a child, I would just, I remember the mornings of being forced to drink Ensure. I've had people recommend Ensure to me, and I'm like, sorry, can't anymore. Boost, any of that, no. Carnation Instant Breakfast, can't do any of them, because those were the drinks of my childhood where I was forcing them down, and, then I would jump in the shower, try not to throw up, and sometimes I did. Thankfully, I was in the shower. I would go to school completely bloated. All I would bring to school for a long period of time was the Ensure drinks. There was a period where that was the only thing that I was consuming. So it was, that was it. I'd come home. I would sit in the bathroom pretty much from the moment I got home. Anytime that I was not in the bathroom, I was napping. And, my dad would keep pushing dinner back, and we'd probably eat around 7:30 or 8. I would eat a couple bites, and then I would go to bed. And that was all I knew of life for a decent amount of time. So it was really hard to see anything different for my future. It's really sad. So when people, pose that question of, why would somebody want to date you with your illness? It's completely valid when you feel like when you feel like that, when you feel like you're just nothing and you're just existing and you're not doing anything productive. And sometimes to this day, I still feel like that. Like the days where Zach is knocking it out of the park, which is like every day, working on so many different things, taking care of the dogs, taking care of the house, and I'm just over here like, I think I'm dying. I feel that way. I'm like, I feel useless. Why are you with me? So I thought I would talk a little bit about our relationship and how I kind of went from being that child who didn't picture a future with anybody to where I am now. So I get asked pretty frequently about how I told Zach about having Crohn's disease, having an ostomy, having all of that. And I think that people assume it was some dramatic scene where I'm sitting him down and I'm like, oh my gosh, listen, I have this really important thing to tell you. It was not like that at all. I actually didn't get the opportunity to tell him about my disease because someone else did it for me. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you may know of Manchild. He is a college friend. He was Zach's roommate, and I actually knew him first. The three of us did intramural soccer together, and that's how I met Zach. But prior to meeting Zach, I had hung out with him and had mentioned my ostomy because we were just chatting, and I felt comfortable enough sharing it with people. I mean, all my friends knew. So I was like, yeah, I have this thing. It's called Crohn's. And, you know, because of it, I've had to have intestine taken out. And now I have an ostomy. I remember him being like, oh, what's that? Like, can I see it? And I pulled my shirt up and I said, yeah, here it is. And that was pretty much the extent of that conversation. So when I finally did meet Zach and he started showing interest in me, I went to explain to him, I guess, and he somehow already knew. And he had told me that Manchild had told him. So there you go. I never had the opportunity to sit him down and tell him for the first time, but obviously he knew it on a very surface level at that point. He didn't know much about the disease or much about my ostomy. He just knew I had both. I don't know if I shared this story on YouTube or not yet, but there was this very significant moment in Zach's and my relationship very early on. And I don't even think we were technically dating at that point. I think we both knew we were sort of interested in each other, but nothing had really happened yet to clarify that. But in the Zach and Maggie beginning, Zach made it very clear that he wanted to get to know all of me. And not just like the fun, you know, oh, we're going out to dinner, or we're going to the cafeteria to get food together, or we're going to this party together. Like, he was very clear that he wanted to be a part of all of it. So I must have only known him at this point for a couple weeks. Like, we were brand spanking new. I had actually just broken up with my ex-boyfriend at the time, but we were still friends, and so I was in this weird period, and Zach, you know, was showing interest, and I really liked him. And I remember I was in my apartment with my roommates, and I was making t-shirts for the Take Steps walk. And they were really cute. They said Illy Optimist, because that was my friend Cassie's and my Take Steps group name. And my roommates had joined in. They were like, yeah, we want to wear t-shirts too, like make them for us. I'll have to find some pictures and put them over this. I remember I made my shirt shorter so my ostomy would actually hang out, and I was going to decorate my ostomy, and I made little fake ostomy bags that my roommates could wear. So anyway, I'm in the process of making these t-shirts, and Zach comes over and he's like, oh, where's mine? And I looked at him like, what do you mean, where's yours? I didn't invite you. No, I didn't say that. But he was like, where's my t-shirt? I would have come. And I was really surprised. I hadn't invited him. I you know, brought it up in passing. And I said, well, I guess I could make you a t-shirt. And he said, yeah. And I was also making the little fake ostomy bags. And he says, yeah, I'll wear one of those too. Sure. And, you know, I'm kind of thinking in my head, like, yeah, let's see if this actually happens. Let's see if you show up to this new friend of yours, Take Steps walk. You've never been to anything like this. You don't even know what Crohn's disease is. And he came. And it was super awkward because my ex was also there. And I have a really great photo of the two of them. And Zach and I laugh about it now. But Yeah, he came and he wore the shirt and he wore the fake ostomy bag and he walked around proudly and he was not embarrassed at all. And I was like, I feel weird. Like, I feel like I have secondhand embarrassment from you wearing my fake ostomy bag. And he didn't care one bit. He was walking around. He was having people take photos with him. It was really cool. And from that point on, you know, he had been involved in all of that kind of stuff. He came to a bunch of different walks. We did one where I was the MC and he was taking photos of me and Cassie. We did another one that was indoors where we brought our dog and, you know, we dressed up Daisy when we had her. And he wore a t-shirt too with me. And I didn't really ask him to do any of that. He kind of just joined in on his own, and I thought that is really cool. We attended galas and stuff together before we were engaged and before we were married, and he became just as friendly with my Crohn's world as I was. And he really solidified that the first night that I slept over at his apartment, in which the clip came off of my bag and leaked all over his bed, and I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. Where he would just, like, he didn't make it a big deal. He was just like, oh, okay, like, that's fine. I'll go wash the sheets and you go clean up and everything's fine. And in my mind, I thought that whole night, date, all of it is ruined because my stupid ostomy bag clip came off. And he reframed it for me and forced me to realize that the whole night was not ruined because my bag leaked all over his bed. It was a negative thing that happened within that day, but it wasn't ruining the whole experience. And I think with stuff like that, it's really, really hard. As the patient that is experiencing it firsthand, it's really hard to see anything but the negative. But he's really helped me in our relationship realize that just because something negative happens throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, when it comes to my medical stuff, it doesn't mean that the whole time is ruined. And he also just made it clear that he is enjoying the relationship just as much as me, and that those negatives are just a very small portion of a whole bunch of positivity. Where was I? Ah, yes. Okay. I hope that this encourages you a little bit, because I think I do show a bit of positivity on my channel, you know, living life, married, it's all fabulous and wonderful, but there really were moments early on where I felt like I was going to be alone forever because I'm experiencing a lot of negativity with my health, and how could a significant other not also see it that way? And Zach didn't see it that way. He hasn't seen all this negative health stuff as just taking over. And that's not to minimize the fact that this health stuff can absolutely take over your life. But sometimes a significant other has a different perspective, and just keep that in mind. He's also reminded me that I bring a lot more to the table than just a physical body, okay? I have a personality, and we have so much fun together talking. That's one of the things Zach and I always bring up. We're like, we could just talk forever. If we wanted to, our conversation could just keep going, because we just always have something to share with each other. And when one of us is going through a hard time, we're always supporting the other, making them laugh if that's what's needed, or just providing that support. And when one of us is in a lower mood, the other one carries us through. I think we both do that for each other, and it's something that, even though my body is not perfect, I can still offer. I am worthy and deserving of love, and I hope that this video makes you realize that you are too. Alright guys, I am going to tend to the dogs because I'm worried they're going to start barking again. I'm looking at you. Dixie's sitting on the couch wagging her tail at me. I'm watching you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you would like to see a vlog from St. Louis. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.